Making the Grade is sponsored by a grant from Monsignor Craig Harrison and St. Francis of Assisi Parish in Bakersfield.
Hello everyone, and welcome to this month's episode of Making the Grade, where we share great news about the Catholic education here in the Diocese of Fresno and beyond. I'm Lisa Hendy.
And I'm Kim Cochran.
And we're so happy this month to be discussing the very important topic of health, fitness, and athletics in our Catholic schools and beyond. We're going to share with you a little bit about our special guest this month, Russell Rapon. But before we do that, I thought it would be fun for Kim and I to share with you our either athletic or unathletic background. So Kim, were you an athlete in school, Kim?
You know, I did not play organized sports in high school, but I grew up in a family of about 15 of us cousins, and we were always outside playing something, right? Whether it was volleyball or baseball, maybe some basketball. So.
But you grew up to be something special, a runner, right?
Well, actually, I've been running for the last year and a half and been running some 5Ks and 10Ks, and this summer we'll do my first half. So.
Well, I'm like you because I absolutely was definitely not an athlete in school. In fact, I shared with you that my first grade teacher once told me that I ran slower than a turtle. And just to show her up, I actually have finished 3 marathons in my life. And I love working out. I'm still slower than a turtle, but I've learned that glorifying God with my physical body helps me to stay on the straight and narrow with respect to my faith life. And so that's why we really wanted to do this topic this month of faith and athletics in our school. And to do that, we brought in a super special guest. Why don't you introduce him for us?
Well, this is Russell Rapon, and I'm very happy that he's here to join us for this topic today. And Russell is, I'm sure, a very proud graduate of St. Anthony's School. Yes. Went on to San Joaquin Memorial, and he did his graduate studies at the University of San Diego State?
San Diego State.
San Diego State, correct. And then the Franciscan University, so you're very well educated. We're so happy to have you here.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm sure my mom and dad are very happy, not necessarily with the loans and whatnot, but with the fact that I followed through with my education. But thank you for the invitation. I'm happy to be here.
We're thrilled to have you. And I think the information that you're going to be able to share with the parents and the kids out there that are watching about the importance of sports is really important. But before we get into our interview with you, we're going to follow through on our special feature that we're trying to do each month, which is to share with you some news about a famous Catholic. And this month's famous Catholic ties in really well with our sports theme. Okay. It's actually Major League Baseball player and famous Catholic Mike Sweeney. So let me let you know just a little bit more about Mike. He, at the age of 17, led his Ontario high school baseball team to a perfect 26-0 record and the California State Championship. His dad actually attended my alma mater, which is Mater Dei High School, and Mike's children actually have gone to Catholic school as well. He was an all-star first baseman who spent the majority of his career playing with the Kansas City Royals. He's a devout Catholic who's dedicated to helping kids learn about Christ through baseball.
Love it.
In November of 2006, he and his family visited the Vatican and had a private audience with Benedict XVI, our Pope then. And he founded the Catholic Baseball Camp, which is a 3-day retreat where kids can improve their baseball skills, but also, and more importantly, see their faith come to life. So every day the camp begins with Mass and Scripture, praying the rosary as a group, and even participating in the sacrament of confession. Mike and his wife founded the Mike and Shara Sweeney Family Foundation, and that is dedicated to sharing the basic 3 themes of love, family, and youth. And I can't think of a greater pick for this month's famous Catholic than Catholic baseball player and a wonderful role model for us on and off the field, Mike Sweeney.
Great. Wow, Catholic and baseball.
Exactly.
Wow.
Exactly.
Okay.
And then speaking of Catholics who are super into athletics, why don't you introduce, or let's get started with our conversation with Russell.
So Russell, you want to tell us a little bit about your family and a little bit more about yourself?
Sure. In my current position now, I work with Fresno Unified School District, and I'm a school psychologist. My position is as a consultant. So we work with classrooms, with teachers and administrators with classroom management, how to set up your classroom to get the most out of your kids behaviorally so then they can focus on academics. Okay. In addition to that, I also coach basketball, so I work with Sunnyside High School. I'm a varsity assistant with the boys basketball team. And in addition to that, I also am the executive director of an organization called X's and O's Basketball Foundation, and we work with the Filipino community, and we use basketball as a platform to to look at cultural outreach and community building. So we do all those kinds of things, and basketball is a very big part of my family life. My brother Ryan was a player at San Joaquin Memorial. Mm-hmm. He played semi-professionally in the Philippines a couple of years ago. My son and daughter, I don't know how good we've done it, but or how well we've done it, but we've sort of infused basketball in our life as a way to keep us together. So, they're very much a part of our basketball activities. My wife, who wasn't a basketball player, loves the game now and is, as much as she can, involved in all the basketball stuff that we do, even though she teaches ballet. So the athletic theme or the use of the body and being healthy is, even though I'm not the healthiest, but at least in our family, we had that constant conversation about it. So.
I know that you're a proud Catholic school alum, having gone to St. Anthony's and San Joaquin Memorial, and now your kids are at St. Anthony's too. So I'm curious about how the role of Catholic education in your life has kind of shaped you into the person that you are right now.
Oh, it's a very important unifying experience for all of my family. My parents went to Catholic school in the Philippines all the way up until college. I can say that a lot of the lessons that I've learned about life, how to deal with people, how to keep a centered and grounded life, comes through all the lessons that I've learned in Catholic school. There was no question when my wife and I started our family where the kids were going to go to school. Whether we were living in Fresno or any other part of the country or part of the world, our main priority would be to make sure that they were in a safe learning environment, one that's Christ-centered, and so St. Anthony's was a no-brainer for us. So it's you have to live it, and so you have to live your faith, and so part of that is having exposure and being able to practice that on a daily basis. So Catholic school allows our family to do that. So, and we can always have that conversation at school, at home, because you're learning and you're practicing both, in the home setting and in the school setting.
Your son could be sitting in some of the very same desks that you sat in back at St. Anthony's.
Yes, well, St. Anthony's has grown so much since the time that I left in '88. So I guess as he moves on, as he gets into the junior high school grades, so hopefully we'll be sitting in the same classrooms that I once sat in.
Yeah. It was important I recently talked to your mom. Did you know that?
I did know that.
Okay, so I recently chatted with your mom, and she's very proud of you.
We call this investigative reporting.
Just a little bit. But she's so proud of you and the man that you've grown into, and she's so happy with her grandchildren. And so I had to do a little bit of questioning about, what kind of child was Russell like when he was at St. Anthony's? And of course, being the mother that she is, very loving, she had a lot of positive things to say.
Oh, that's good.
And she did. And I asked her a little bit about the sports that you played and how you, what you enjoyed playing when you were at St. Anthony's and Memorial. Do you want to tell us some about that?
Yeah, sure. For me, I wasn't the best athlete, but I loved the ability to participate with my classmates. I think that was a big part of it for me. And I took it as a challenge. When I was at St. Anthony's, I participated in flag football and soccer and basketball and soccer or like softball. When I moved on to Memorial, I played tennis and basketball there. For me, I learned a lot about working with people. And especially in the team sports, I started to gravitate more towards basketball and the team sports just because it was an exercise in how to be a leader, how to be a follower, how to be a listener, how to work towards a common goal. Sometimes when you're on the tennis court, even though it can be a liberating feeling being the individual in charge of what's happening on the court. Being in a team sport, you have to really find the common ground between all 15 of you on the team and the coaching staff, and that's, for me, that was always a challenge. And I tried to embrace it as much as I could because I knew that I wasn't going to play collegiately. So I had to really work to get as much out of my my experience as I could. So
probably a lot of the same things that Mike Sweeney talks about and does at his camps.
And one of the things that I think is so impressive about our Catholic schools is the ability that our children have to play multiple sports. As you mentioned, in a lot of public schools, the kids actually are kind of put into one sport and they stay in that particular sport throughout their entire career. But a lot of our kids have the opportunity to play on multiple teams, and we're actually going to feature one of our teams in this episode. These are some wonderful children that we interviewed recently out at Our Lady of Victory School. It's actually their SOCO, or softball team. So we asked the kids a little bit about what sports meant to them, and let's hear what they had to say.
I can't wait to hear what they had to say.
How has being part of a sports team helped you to grow academically?
Well, it gives us confidence that we'll do good in school and in our games.
Sometimes I do homework with my friends before our games or before practice.
And how has work that schedule? How did that help you in your schoolwork?
It's been making me do it more because I was more worried about that, doing it, getting it done.
What has being part of a team taught you about teamwork?
Like making sure we all get along, and like if someone doesn't know something, well, like all of us will go help her.
And how do you go help her?
Like if she doesn't understand something, we'll make sure like we'll show it to her more slowly and like ways she'll understand.
And how has being part of a team helped you to learn about teamwork?
Making new friends and meeting new people.
And how has making friends helped become a team?
When you do things together.
And what have you learned about being part of a team from being on the sports team?
Well, there's no I in team, so you have to like cooperate with the other players.
How do you work together as a team?
By working as a team, you have to help the other players understand how to play and stuff, like if they don't know.
How has being part of a team helped you to grow closer to God?
Well, I just know that He's there to help us and He could give us courage,
Those kids were so awesome, and they did such a great job of answering the questions. But I have to give a special shout out to our interviewer par excellence, which is our special Making the Grade volunteer, Courtney Vallejo. And Courtney has been giving her time and her expertise as somebody who's formally trained in television to help put together a lot of the segments here on Making the Grade. So you'll be seeing her more both behind and in front of the camera during upcoming episodes. And we do want to give a huge shout out to the OLV SOCO team. We wish you the best of luck for your upcoming rest of your games. And just like they said, there's no I in team, so I really think that they have a winning attitude to take the best possible experience out of what they're getting from being out there on the playing field. It's time for us to head out to our break now, but we'll be back more after this break with more conversation with our special guest, Russell, and we'll see you right after this.
KNXT thanks all its loyal viewers and respected businesses who have supported your Catholic television station. Now you can support KNXT with program underwriting by having your name, your company's name, or organization associated with your favorite program. Detailed information about you or your company will appear before and after each program or day part you select. Keep the quality and spiritual message alive and make a difference. Call 559-488-7440 today or go online at knxt.tv to find out more about program underwriting on KNXT.
Welcome back. We're so glad that you've joined us for this episode of Making the Grade, where we are having a conversation about health and fitness in our Catholic schools.
So Russell, before the break, we heard about your personal experience with health and fitness
Yes.
and with sports, but now you've transitioned into coaching. And I just want to hear how you went from being out there on the playing field to picking up the clipboard and becoming the coach.
Well, that's an interesting story. I like to think of myself as a goal-oriented person, but I really fell into coaching by accident. And I like to think that it was sort of God's way of directing me, and His gentle call to participate in more than just myself. My mom, short story. My mom is a choreographer. She teaches Filipino folk dancing, and she's been doing this for years, ever since we came to the States from the Philippines. And she's been teaching youth here in Fresno for like over.
That's why she's in such good shape.
Well, yeah. Well, it's almost 30 years now. And so I used to see her working with these, college age and high school kids, for months at a time to prepare for, performances out in the community over at Fresno State for their Filipino Culture Night. And I was so amazed, I guess, at the impact that she had, with these young people, people who to this day continue to reach out to her, to check in with her. They're all a part of this, larger family.
Sure.
And one of them happens to be my godmother. When my mom was teaching her as a 14-year-old in the Philippines, how many years ago? So I mean, the connections my mom has date all the way back then. For me, I think I wanted to be able to not necessarily have the same impact, but develop relationships in the same way that she did. And so that's how I sort of fell into coaching. A buddy of mine, my best friend at St. Anthony's, when we were in college, he bought me a whistle and he said, "Russ, I think you need a coach." And so I just sort of fell into it that way. And
It just took a whistle.
Just took a whistle, and I ended up being a team manager and a grad assistant out at Steubenville University, out in Franciscan University of Steubenville. And from there, I just tried to find ways to coach, just find ways to be involved. And I coached at St. Anthony's with the 5th and 6th grade kids with Mr. Carey, who was my coach when I was in grade school.
That's so amazing.
So I had some incredible mentors, Mr. Carey being one of them, my mom, Will Hooker, who was a coach at Sam King Memorial about 10 years ago. So, they've all had a lasting imprint on just the kind of impact and the kind of power, in a sense, not really power, but the kind of influence you can have in a positive way.
Right, on a child's life.
On a child and on a community. And so I think that was the driving force for me to try to seek ways to do that as well.
Well, all of our kids need mentors in their lives, and
absolutely.
through sports is a great way for coaches to serve as mentors.
Yes.
So, as a coach and as a parent, you really do have an impact on children's lives. So you want to talk a little bit about what you think that and how our schools can really serve our children well, and in their commitment to stay healthy and to be healthy and to grow into adults that will continue to be to take care of themselves.
They all mix together. So every aspect of your life. I remember Father Pat McCormick, who was a chaplain at Memorial, used to tell us about all these juggling balls you have in your life: personal life, spiritual, your health, your profession, your academics. They're all. If you're not working well, you start to juggle. But if you're in the right frame of mind and if you're centered, those things all come together. And you live a comprehensive life, you live a centered life, and your ability to be healthy informs your spiritual life, it informs your relationships, your profession. The discipline that you have with your health can be influenced by your discipline in your prayer life. All those things form this jigsaw puzzle of who you are as a person. And so the more that you can pay attention to those finer details and see the global picture, which faith and health, those things fit together all together.
Right.
You're hopefully walking the journey. So
you bet.
It's so amazing. One of my dad's favorite movies, Chariots of Fire. I don't know if you've ever watched that movie before, but it kind of shows the, this exactly what you're talking about, this paradigm between our faith walk and the athletic walk, or I think even more importantly for our kids now is even if they don't consider themselves a school athlete, just
Right.
the way that we can glorify God in our physical body. So,
yes.
you know, as you've talked a little bit about that, but one of the things I'm curious about is how, and you're a busy parent, you know how busy your kids are, how we manage in today's families to stay on top of keeping all of these things in place. So we have time for things like participating in sports, but that they don't take the place of our other important family activities.
I think it has to be, it has to become a priority. You know, like in anything, you know, the things that you put on the top of that list are the things you're going to dedicate the most time to. And it takes a lot of practice, it takes a lot of discipline. But if you can make time for it, it'll be there for you, and then it'll be a part of your habit and your routine and your schedule. I think that's probably the biggest thing, especially with kids growing up. You know, in my profession, working with teachers, administrators, and working with students who are mostly disturbed, that's probably the one key element in their life that tends to be lacking. It's lack of routine, lack of structure, lack of schedule. And for most of those kids, the only place they can find that is in the school system, in the school setting. You know, as parents, you know, we have to try to be at our best and do our best to help to develop schedules and routines in our homes. And you know, injecting athletics is a great way to do that. It's a great family connection. We just bought a basketball hoop for my son's birthday a couple of weeks ago.
Fun.
And we finally put it up. We finally installed it, and so now whenever my son comes home, he's asking my wife, "Can I shoot some hoop?" And we talk about it at the house. I tell him, if you get up early enough, we can get shots up in the morning. We'll wake up at 6, and we can get a little quick workout in. And even if we don't do that, you know, we'll spend time. We'll just shoot. You know, no stress, no pressure. Let's just go out there and, you know, put the ball up. And so if you try to infuse it in your daily life, you know, and it serves several different purposes, and then that's probably where you get the most, where you're most effective at it, I guess.
I love something that you said in that too, which is we can get some shots in, which is not you're just sending the kid out to do it himself, but you're actually going along with them.
Well, I know I need to get shots up. So.
Why do you think we invited you, Russell, to get all of ourselves in gear here? Well, you know, we're going to take the next few minutes to follow up on one of my favorite features of the show, which is our Picks of the Month. And this is the ability for us to share some things that are related to our theme. And we did invite Russell as our special guest to kick us off with the very first pick of the month, and this is something that's related to our theme of health, fitness, and athletics in our school. So Russell, what do you have for us?
Sure, okay, so I have this book here. It's actually a signed copy. This is called The Miracle of St. Anthony. It's written by Adrian Wojnarowski, very well-known sports writer from the East Coast. And this is a book, it's basically a telling of a school out in Jersey City, New Jersey, St. Anthony High School. The coach there, his name is Bob Hurley Sr. This coach has won probably over 1,000 games in his career. Has had 7 undefeated seasons, and I think three mythical national championships. But his most important work is helping to keep the school open.
Wow.
And so he does that through his work as a basketball coach. And this story is really about his 2004 team and his most improbable team to go undefeated. The reason why this book is important for me is because it really tells a story about Catholic education these days, and the struggle to keep schools open, the role that a Catholic school can play in a community, especially there, like in the inner city. You know, these schools are, you know, more than anything, they're a key to social justice, because this is the key to opportunity for a lot of these kids. It has some colorful language because it's a colorful story, but it's, you know, it's a great way to look at the impact, you know, a coach can have, a mentor can have in the life of the community. So this is why.
That sounds like a great
It does. I know. I'm headed to the bookstore right after this to pick that up, and the fact that it's signed is a gift too.
Wow.
Yeah.
Lucky you.
Yes.
What do you have, Kim?
Okay, so my book
Ooh,
is
I'm
a
getting
very
hungry just looking at it.
It's a very important book because we all know that if we're going to be healthy, if we're going to play sports, we have to be healthy. And so when my kids were little, my Aunt Shirley gave me this book, Disney's Family Cookbook, and it has lots of great recipes in here to make with your children. And there's a lot of vegetable recipes and a lot of fun Wait a minute, but you wouldn't, your mom said you didn't like a lot of vegetables, so you might not like
Well, yeah. I mean, I do now.
Nothing green. Your mom said nothing green. So,
Well,
but there's also recipes for healthy cookies and some trail mix that you can put together with kids.
I love
and
it.
So,
And you
in
can
order-
actually teach them to cook, too.
you can come off of the basketball court. You can walk into the kitchen,
Yeah.
and then you can whip up some snacks or dinner.
There you go.
There you
Suddenly I'm hungry.
go.
And let me tell you about my pick for the month. I have two, as usual, because I can never just get one. My first one is a wonderful, actually an app for your smartphone, and this is called FitQuest Lite. And it's actually a game that you can play on your phone with your kids. What you do is you actually run in place while you're playing, you're running through a trail on the game, and so you're ducking, you're jumping, you're moving from side to side, and it actually takes your smartphone's motions. You get points depending on how quickly the phone is moving, your ups and downs. So rather than just sitting in a sedentary position, you're actually playing the game in that way. My second pick of the month here in the Valley is something that's very popular at this time of the year, and that's strawberries, which is a very funny pick, but being that we can never get enough fruits and vegetables in our diets, I just had to recommend, if you live in the Valley, go out to a roadside stand and pick up some of the great fresh produce, especially the strawberries.
There's farmers markets everywhere.
Exactly. And now we're going to close out our show with one of our special features. Kim, tell us about it.
And so on each episode of Making the Grade, we'll be closing in prayer. So today we welcome our students to lead us in prayer.
Dear Lord, help us play our best today. Give us the strength to do what we need to do to achieve victory. If victory eludes us, give us the strength to accept defeat as we do in victory. Our Father,
who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil.
Amen.
Great
Do
job.
they just make you smile? I love praying with our students every month, and we thank them for making the time to do this with us. And we have a special announcement. We've enjoyed so much being with Russell that we've actually invited him to become a regular part of our show. So he's going to be back with us as a regular panel member here on Making the Grade. Russell, you've been recruited.
Well, thank you for the invitation. I'm looking forward to our next time with the viewing audience and whatever I can do to help. I hope I can add a.
He's going to add a different perspective, I think.
Absolutely. We needed a coach on the panel, so
That's
we
right.
welcome you back, Russell, and we're so happy to have you. And for this episode, I'm Lisa Hendy.
And I'm Kim Cochran.
And we'll see you next time
on Making the Grade.
Making the Grade is sponsored by a grant from Monsignor Craig Harrison and St. Francis of Assisi Parish in Bakersfield.